Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another Monday Mindset. Today, we're going to be talking about the top regrets of the dying. There's nothing like getting your mindset right by focusing on death, but I think this could be insanely powerful. This was a book that was written that is insanely powerful to read, and it's a great thing to reflect on. So that's what we're going to talk about today to get our mindset right for the week. But before we do that, I will see you on the other side of this intro.
There are no bad businesses. There are just those people who don't know enough to see the opportunities in the work they're in. If there seems to be no future or opportunity in it, it isn't always because it's not there, but perhaps only because we can't see it.
What is up? Welcome to another Monday Mindset. Have a great episode for you guys today. If I'm looking a little tired, it's because I just had my son, as you guys know, little William Judah Acree was born 2 weeks ago. And if anybody's had kids, when you're in the newborn phase, you know you're up literally every 2 hours. I'm up for moral support because I can't do anything. My wife, Megan, is the real champion. She does it all. But also, if you look behind me, it's a little dark out, right? So I know I'm releasing this at 10, but I actually recorded this right after my workout about 5:30 a.m. in the morning. And the reason why I had to pre-record this and the reason why this topic is in my mind about talking about the 5 top regrets of the dying and a great reflection point for us is one of my best friends, very best friends in the world, is actually having heart surgery today. So he's having that around 1 o'clock. So if you're a person of faith or just, can say a prayer for him and that everything goes well in the surgery. It was something that came on instantly and something that there was no symptoms to, didn't expect. And that's life. A lot of times it throws you curveballs, adversities, things that come at you that you don't expect. And so I'd appreciate all the prayers for him. And it got us talking and thinking there's nothing like facing your mortality, right? That makes you think about your life and how you're living and what you've done and what you're trying to do and wonder, hey, have I done what I've wanted to do? And not only have I done what I've wanted to do, what are my regrets? And Gary Vee, there's this famous clip out there. You guys should go watch it. Gary Vee's like in this SUV and this woman spots him, right? So a fan of his and like runs up to the window and like knocks on the window. She's like, Gary Vee. And he rolls down the window and she goes, give me 3 words that just will inspire me. And Gary Vee literally without missing a beat goes, you're going to die. I mean, think about that for a second. I mean, those are incredible words to inspire somebody. You're going to die. So get moving and live. Meaning stop worrying about so much of the things you worry about because it doesn't matter. And you need to spend time living and getting out there. And so this book that was written, the top 5 regrets of the dying was written by a lady named, I believe it was Bonnie Rare, if I'm not mistaken, or Ronnie Rare, one of those. And she basically worked in home care, healthcare, so like hospice. And she worked specifically for years with the elderly and people that were sent home. Basically, they were going to die. And she was taking care of them in their last days. And she wrote down 5 things that she saw. Sorry, my alarm's going off here if you heard that. So 5 things that she saw as the top regrets of the dying. And these are insanely powerful to help you reflect and think and get motivated today to stop these things today from being regrets in your own life. So number one thing that she had on the list was, I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. So often, and you've heard me talk about this before, we let the opinions of others dictate our life. And normally the reason why we do that is because we want something from those people. And oftentimes what I find is, yes, there's the materialistic things you might want from somebody, the money, right? You might want to be able to get the material thing from that person. But the true thing that you want from that person is you want them to solidify for you some type of comfort or some type of identity or some type of feeling. And I have realized that, hey, in order to be really great in this life, really great in your business, you can't go out there and help other people until you're good with yourself. One of the reasons why we let the opinions of others dictate what we do is because we care what they think about us more than we care what we think about us. You have to get good with yourself. Until you're good being by yourself, until you're good with who you are and your identity, you'll never be able to go out there and help other people. And here's the thing, I'm a person of faith, right? So I always say, man, you got to find out where your true identity comes from. I believe your true identity comes from your creator. And once you realize what your true identity is and who you are in that, man, you are solid, because you realize it doesn't matter what these people think. It doesn't matter what they tell me. I know who I am. So my first challenge to you today, so you don't have one of these regrets when you get up there in age, or a life event comes at you where maybe you are facing mortality at this point, or your mortality, you realize, hey, who are you? And being good with yourself to live your true life and not living a life that others are dictating for you. This is true for entrepreneurs, right? One of my good friends and the founder of Reminder Media, one of the reasons why he started it years and years ago, so I joined up with him about 12 years ago, is because he was sitting in an office, not enjoying what he was doing, looking around at people bringing in their lunch pails every single day. Every single day they were bringing in their lunch pails. And he was just like, I don't want to end up 30 years from now just bringing in my lunch pail every single day, doing the same thing over and over again. And he literally quit that day. He was willing to live his own life and quit. And that's a sign of a great entrepreneur, somebody who's willing to just take a risk, get out there, put it all on the line. Second regret was, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Now, this one's tough for all of us entrepreneurs, right? Because I work 80 hours a week, I feel. But here's the thing, it's not work to me, right? And I know that sounds maybe a little corny, a little cliche. It doesn't mean it's not hard. It doesn't mean there's not days where I'm not feeling it. But what I mean by that is, I think this regret, and I didn't talk to these people, but my fear in this and my reflection to this is, am I doing work that matters? Or am I doing things that don't really matter? Meaning, like, I don't want to end up at the end of my life working 80 hours a week for just a paycheck. I don't want to work 80 hours a week in something that I'm not passionate about, something that I don't believe actually changes the world, that has impact on people, right? Rick Warren, he says, if you want a life of significance, which we all do, it comes from a life of service, right? So when you look at this regret of, I wish I hadn't worked so hard, do you have this regret in your life? Do you look at your life and you look at your work-life balance and you look at how you're spending your time and you go, man, I'm missing out on my kids' baseball games. I'm working too hard, and this is going to be a regret for you. What I would challenge you is going, what type of work are you doing, and how do you make your work bigger than just about the paycheck, bigger than just about the revenue, because that's where the true fulfillment comes from. I believe it was Ed Milet I was watching, and he coaches past presidents, he coaches movie stars, he coaches athletes, right? He coaches top entrepreneurs. And one of the things he says is a very similar thing to Tony Robbins. He talks to a lot of these people who have made it in the world's eyes. They've built successful empires, but they are not fulfilled. They are not satisfied. And you know the number one thing he looks for right away? He looks for, how are they giving back? And he realizes that, man, if somebody is not giving back through some charitable aspect of their life, some transcendent thing that's above their work, He immediately implements that for them. That is his number one takeaway is, hey, you've got to have something in your life where you give back, because a life of significance comes from a life of service. And I believe this regret of working too hard, it's because they punched the clock, the 9-to-5 jobs. They were on the hamster wheel, right? They were going, and going, but it was all about the paycheck. It was all about the title. It was all about just their career, and not about something that was higher than that, about giving back, about actually making a difference. Because when you're on a mission, man, it don't feel like work. It feels like you're on a mission to change the world. That's what I'm doing here at Reminder Media, and I hope you find that in your business. Third regret of the dying was, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. Man, I love this one, especially when it comes down to like content that you put out. Right? So expressing your feelings applies in all aspects of your life, your relationships, all these things. But man, with your content, if you want to have great content, which we all do, you got to be real. You got to say what you actually feel. And most of the time we don't. Why? Because it goes back to the first one. We're so fearful of the consequences of speaking our truth, and we're not solid in who we are, that we don't actually speak what we believe. And I'm telling you this is what I have found in my 10 years of marriage. I'm going on 11 years, is that when I overcome the fear of actually speaking my mind and having courage to speak what I actually feel, right? Whether it's about something that I want in my relationship, that's good, that's bad, right? When I overcome that and I'm vulnerable, man, we make progress. But when I hold it in and I don't speak my mind and I don't speak what I truly believe, I don't have the courage to express my feelings, we never make progress. And that lack of progress a lot of times turns into bitterness in your relationships. And that bitterness is what destroys you from the inside out. So if you're struggling in your relationship, your business partnerships, ask yourself, do you have the courage to express your feelings? Right? When you are dealing with a team member, do you have radical candor? Are you practicing radical candor as a leader, or are you sugarcoating what you truly think? If you sugarcoat what you truly think, you're not going to make progress. Vulnerability creates vulnerability. You can't get trust without healthy conflict. There's this amazing book called The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. One of the things it talks about is building trust, and trust is the foundation of great teams, but you can't have trust without healthy conflict. You can't have healthy conflict without the courage to express your feelings. You need to be able to express your feelings. That's the third regret of the dying. The fourth biggest regret of the dying was, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Man, you are a blessed person if you have 1 to 2 really, really close friends. One of my regrets, even in my short life so far, I'm only 34 at this point, is I wish, man, I would have done a better job with all the relationships that I've met along the way in college and business, all the things like the churches, the mission trips that I've done, all these different things. I wish, man, I would have kept in touch with these people more, and in business side, kept a database with them, been able to keep in touch with them and have all these relationships in this network, right? Because I think it's super powerful from a business perspective, but then also making sure that I actually stay in touch with them from a relationship perspective, because life is about relationships. Life is not about the materialistic things. It's about relationships. And you've all heard the saying, your net worth is your network. If you focus on the relationship over the transaction, you'll actually exponentially grow your business. And it's amazing how this is one of the regrets of the dying, that they look back and they see, wow, life really was about the friendships and the relationships. And I wish I would have done a better job spending time with those people, spending time with my friends, with my family, keeping in touch with them. And it applies to business. But we in business, we get so transactional focused. You ever heard the saying commission breath? Where you lose deals because you have so much commission breath, where you're chasing the transaction, people can feel it from you, right? This applies in your life of, hey, are you actually keeping in touch with your friends? If not, take a little time today, pick 3 people, 3 of your past friends, and text them. Say, hey, I was thinking about you today and would love to catch up. I know we haven't caught up in a while. Would love to grab coffee or jump on a phone call and catch up. Take 3 people that you haven't talked to in a while and do that. What an incredible action item for us to take away. 5th regret of the dying. I wish that I had let myself be happier. It's amazing how they see at the end of their life happiness as a choice. I wish I would let myself be happier. Happier is a choice. Do you find yourself today never celebrating any wins? never pausing to actually look at how far you've come. I did a TikTok that went viral, and it was about, basically speaking to people in their 20s, telling them, you're right now, you don't realize you might be down and out on yourself. But the truth is, if you look back at where you were and how far you've come, yourself today would be so impressed just in the gain that you've done over the last probably decade. And I would tell you that, like, happiness is a choice. You can wake up today and choose happiness. You can wake up today and choose positivity. There's a great book called The Power of Positive Thinking that you should read. I read it, and it was a great outlook on life. And there's this study that shows one of the common things they see in successful people in life is they are optimists. They view the glass half full, not half empty. Happiness is a choice. You can choose happiness. You can choose to focus on the good, not on the bad. And when you focus on things, that's where your energy flows, right? Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And what you focus on, you tend to think about. What you tend to think about, you tend to speak about. What you tend to speak about, you tend to act upon. What you act upon actually turns into your habits that actually define your character, that actually defines who you are. You follow that whole train through if you actually realize happiness is a choice. You focus on happiness. You let yourself be happy. You focus on the good and not the bad. It can have an immense effect on your whole life. So in the words of Gary Vee, to motivate us all this morning on this Monday mindset is you're going to die, right? So get out there and live. If you're going to die, get out there and live. Stop worrying about the small little things that don't really matter, and remember the things that actually matter. And if you are around it or thinking about it at 1 o'clock, 1:30, I would super appreciate some prayers for my friend as he goes into surgery today. But I hope this inspires you, encourages you, causes you to reflect, causes you to realize, hey, man, I want to live a life with no regrets. And in order to live a life with no regrets, I have to be courageous and I have to be intentional in my life. Let's get out there. Let's win this week for not only ourselves, but for our family and our friends and for our clients. Let's make it a great day. Appreciate you guys.